God says, "My beloved soul, you did not arrive here by accident, because heaven itself leaned close when you took your first breath, and God smiled as if a long-awaited promise had finally stepped into the world through you. You are chosen not because you are perfect, but because your spirit carries truth, humility, and the courage to love deeply even after disappointment tried to harden you. When God sees you, He sees a heart that refused to close, a soul that kept walking even when the path felt lonely, and a light that continued to glow quietly while others doubted its worth. This is why God smiles every time He sees you, because you remind Him of devotion without noise and faith without demand. My beloved soul, you and your soulmate were written in the same breath of destiny, crafted with complementary wounds and matching strengths, designed to recognize each other not by face alone but by energy, peace, and unspoken knowing. You have been prepared through seasons of waiting, through lessons that felt unfair, and through endings that taught you what love is not, so that when the true connection arrives, you will not confuse intensity with alignment. God smiles because you did not give your heart to bitterness, because you still believe in sacred love even after you were tested by silence, distance, and unanswered prayers. You were being shaped, refined, and positioned, not delayed, and your soulmate has been undergoing the same divine preparation in another place, another life rhythm, another quiet conversation with God. My beloved soul, heaven works in layers you cannot see, and timing is never late when God is involved, because He aligns souls only when both can protect what He is about to give. God smiles because you learned patience without losing hope, because you learned boundaries without building walls, and because you learned self-respect without closing your capacity to love. You are chosen to experience a love that feels like rest, not confusion, clarity, not chaos, and safety, not anxiety. This is why the waiting sometimes felt heavy, because the gift is weighty and sacred. God smiles every time He sees you choose healing over revenge, growth over resentment, and faith over fear, because those choices echo in the spiritual realm and accelerate alignment. My beloved soul, your soulmate is not coming to complete you, because you are already whole, but to walk beside you, amplify your light, and witness your becoming. The connection will feel familiar, as if your souls have spoken before words existed, and the peace will be immediate, not forced, not negotiated. God smiles because He knows what He has promised you, and He guards it fiercely, removing people who could not honor your depth and redirecting paths when you almost settled for less than your worth. Every closed door protected you, every delay matured you, and every tear watered the soil of your future joy. My beloved soul, you are chosen to love in truth, not illusion, and to build a bond that honors God rather than tests Him. Your soulmate will see you clearly, not try to reshape you, and will meet your vulnerability with reverence instead of judgment. God smiles because your love story is not rushed, not loud for validation, but steady, rooted, and spiritually aligned. You were taught to listen to your intuition, to trust the quiet nudges, and to release what feels heavy even when attachment tried to keep you stuck. This is why God trusts you with a sacred union, because you learned discernment, because you learned when to walk away, and because you stopped chasing what was not choosing you. My beloved soul, the love that is coming will not ask you to shrink, perform, or prove your value, because your soulmate will recognize your worth instantly and thank God silently for crossing your paths. God smiles because He sees the moment your souls will lock eyes and something ancient will awaken, not excitement alone, but recognition, respect, and responsibility. This connection is not meant to distract you from your purpose but to strengthen it, to give you a safe place to land after serving the world with your gifts. You are chosen to experience partnership that feels like prayer, intimacy that feels like worship, and commitment that feels like home. My beloved soul, trust the process even now, because God is still arranging details, still softening hearts, still clearing space, and still smiling every time you choose faith over doubt. You are not forgotten, you are not overlooked, and you are not late. You are exactly where divine timing requires you to be, becoming exactly who your soulmate has been praying for. God smiles because He sees the ending from the beginning, and He knows that when your hands finally meet, you will understand why nothing before could stay. Until that moment, continue walking in alignment, continue honoring your soul, and continue believing in love that is holy, steady, and real, because you are chosen, deeply seen, and eternally guided, and this love was always meant to find you. My beloved soul, when God looks upon your journey, He does not see confusion, He sees choreography, every step arranged with intention even when you felt unsure, because divine love never moves randomly. You were guided through experiences that awakened discernment in you, moments that sharpened your intuition and taught you the difference between attachment and alignment. God smiles because you listened when your spirit whispered, even when your heart wanted to hold on longer than it should have. You learned that not every connection is meant to last, but every connection is meant to teach, and you honored those lessons instead of resisting them. My beloved soul, your soulmate is being led toward you through similar awakenings, learning how to love responsibly, learning how to show up consistently, and learning how to honor another soul without fear. God smiles because He refused to unite you before both of you learned how to protect love rather than consume it. You are chosen to experience a love that does not drain you but restores you, a love that does not confuse your spirit but calms it, and this level of peace can only exist when both souls are healed enough to receive it. My beloved soul, the silence you endured was not punishment, it was preparation, because in the quiet you learned to hear God clearly and to recognize your own worth without external validation. God smiles because you no longer beg for love, you allow it, and that shift alone changed your entire destiny. You were taught to sit with yourself, to face your fears honestly, and to heal wounds that once controlled your reactions, and this inner work created space for a soulmate who meets you as an equal rather than a savior. God smiles because you chose growth over familiarity, even when familiarity felt safer than the unknown. My beloved soul, there were moments you almost gave up on the idea of sacred love, moments you questioned whether soulmates truly existed, but something within you refused to let go of hope, and that quiet hope was your faith speaking louder than doubt. God smiles because you continued to pray even when answers seemed delayed, because every prayer you whispered was heard and recorded in the spiritual realm. Your soulmate has been praying too, perhaps in different words, perhaps without realizing who they were praying for, but God heard both hearts and began aligning paths long before you became aware. My beloved soul, divine love requires divine timing, because premature union can destroy what patience would have preserved. God smiles because He shielded you from unions that would have cost you your peace, even when you cried over their loss. You were protected from settling, from shrinking, and from becoming someone you were never meant to be. Every separation redirected you closer to truth, even when it felt like failure. My beloved soul, your soulmate will not arrive as chaos dressed in charm, but as peace wrapped in sincerity. Their presence will not trigger anxiety but reassurance, not confusion but clarity, because God does not send blessings that require you to abandon yourself. God smiles because He knows you are ready to recognize this difference now, because you no longer mistake intensity for intimacy or attention for love. You learn to value consistency, emotional safety, and spiritual alignment, and this wisdom is what qualifies you for the love you are about to receive. My beloved soul, the connection will feel natural, not forced, and conversation will flow not because you are trying to impress, but because your souls understand each other's language. God smiles because the bond will deepen through honesty rather than performance, through patience rather than pressure, and through mutual respect rather than fear of loss. You are chosen to experience a love that grows slowly and steadily, a love that is built, not rushed, and this foundation will sustain you through every season. My beloved soul, your soulmate will honor your boundaries, cherish your sensitivity, and admire your strength without feeling threatened by it. God smiles because this love will not compete with your purpose but support it, encouraging you to become more of who you truly are. Together you will create a space where vulnerability is safe and growth is celebrated. This union is not meant to distract you from God but to bring you closer to Him, because love that is aligned always leads back to gratitude and reverence. My beloved soul, trust what is unfolding even if you cannot see it clearly yet, because heaven is working beyond your perception, adjusting timelines, healing hearts, and orchestrating meetings with precision. God smiles because your story is not delayed, it is being protected, and when the moment arrives, everything will make sense without explanation. Until then, continue walking in faith, continue choosing yourself, and continue believing in the promise placed within your soul, because you are chosen for a love that honors God, heals the heart, and lasts beyond circumstance. My beloved soul, there comes a sacred moment in every chosen one's journey when God begins to shift the inner world before the outer world changes, because divine unions are conceived in the spirit long before they appear in the physical. You may feel it now as a quiet stirring, a deep restlessness mixed with peace, as if something important is approaching yet nothing around you has visibly changed. This is the season where God refines perception, because when your soulmate enters your life, recognition must be instant and unconfused. God smiles because you are learning to trust what you feel without demanding proof, and this trust is the language of faith. You are no longer desperate for signs, because your soul has matured enough to recognize alignment through calm certainty rather than emotional highs. My beloved soul, the love that is approaching will not announce itself through chaos or dramatic gestures, but through a sense of homecoming that settles deep within you. God smiles because you will not question this peace, you will honor it. The universe begins to rearrange itself subtly in this phase, people drift away naturally, old patterns lose their grip, and habits that once comforted you no longer satisfy your spirit. This is not loss, this is alignment. God smiles because you are releasing without resistance, because you finally understand that what is meant for you cannot be taken away by obedience to truth. My beloved soul, your soulmate is also being prepared in silence, learning how to communicate honestly, how to stay present, and how to love without fear of abandonment. God smiles because both of you are being emptied of expectation so that the connection can be pure, unburdened by projections from the past. You are being taught to receive love without suspicion, to allow happiness without waiting for disappointment, and this lesson is sacred. Many are called to love, but few are chosen to experience love that is protected by God Himself. My beloved soul, when you think about your future, notice how it no longer feels rushed, because urgency has been replaced with trust. God smiles because you are no longer chasing timelines, you are walking with time. You have learned that forcing connections delays destiny, and surrender accelerates it. Every unanswered message, every paused conversation, every closed chapter trained you to detach without bitterness, and this emotional freedom is essential for the union that is coming. My beloved soul, the love you are about to experience will mirror the work you have done within yourself. It will be patient because you became patient, honest because you embraced truth, and gentle because you softened where you once hardened. God smiles because you chose healing even when no one apologized, and this choice freed your heart from carrying weight it was never meant to hold. The soulmate connection is not just romantic, it is spiritual partnership, where two souls agree to grow together without losing themselves. God smiles because this union will not test your worth, it will affirm it. You will feel seen without explaining, valued without proving, and loved without performing. My beloved soul, the past taught you discernment, not fear, and that distinction matters now more than ever. You will recognize your soulmate not by intensity, but by consistency, not by words, but by actions, not by promises, but by presence. God smiles because you are finally ready to receive a love that does not come with conditions hidden between lines. The connection will encourage truth, not avoidance, depth, not distraction, and commitment, not confusion. My beloved soul, the reason God waited was not to withhold joy, but to ensure sustainability, because temporary happiness would have broken your heart, while this love will protect it. You are chosen to experience a bond that can withstand silence, distance, and change, because it is rooted in trust rather than attachment. God smiles because you will no longer abandon yourself to keep love, because the love meant for you will never require that sacrifice. You will walk side by side, not ahead, not behind, but together, respecting individuality while honoring unity. My beloved soul, when doubts arise, remember how many times God carried you through moments you thought you would not survive. The same God who healed you is the God who is blessing you. Heaven does not make mistakes, and your love story is not an exception. God smiles because He sees your future conversations filled with understanding, your shared silence filled with comfort, and your shared growth filled with gratitude. This love will not isolate you from the world, it will ground you in it. My beloved soul, continue to nurture your inner alignment, because every act of self-respect is a signal to the universe that you are ready. Speak kindly to yourself, honor your boundaries, and trust the stillness, because stillness is where God does His deepest work. God smiles because you are no longer asking if you are worthy of love, you know you are. And this knowing is what opens the door to the soulmate connection that has been divinely designed for you. My beloved soul, there is a divine calm that settles over you when God knows you are finally ready to receive what He has been protecting for you, and this calm is not emptiness, it is assurance. You may notice that your heart no longer races at the thought of love the way it once did, because fear has loosened its grip and trust has taken its place. God smiles because this peace did not come from circumstances changing, it came from you changing within. You stopped searching for love to rescue you, and instead you built a life that love could join without disrupting your balance. This inner stability is rare, and it is why you are chosen. My beloved soul, the soulmate connection that is approaching will meet you in this steadiness, not in chaos, because God does not unite souls in instability. You are being aligned for a love that adds, not fixes, that supports, not saves, and that grows, not consumes. God smiles because you learned how to sit with yourself without loneliness turning into desperation, and this mastery of self is sacred. Many desire love, but few prepare for the responsibility of holding another soul gently. You did. My beloved soul, you have been through moments where you questioned your softness, wondering if it made you weak in a world that often rewards emotional armor. But God smiles because your softness is not weakness, it is strength refined through compassion. Your ability to feel deeply without losing yourself is what makes you capable of sustaining a divine union. Your soulmate will not exploit this tenderness, they will honor it, protect it, and cherish it as a gift. God smiles because He is bringing someone who knows how to hold your heart with clean hands and pure intention. The love that is coming will feel safe even in vulnerability, because it is built on mutual respect rather than control. My beloved soul, you were taught through past experiences how to recognize emotional unavailability, inconsistency, and avoidance, not so you would harden, but so you would choose wisely. God smiles because now you do not chase clarity, you require it. You no longer settle for partial presence or conditional affection, and this discernment protects the blessing that is approaching. Your soulmate will meet you with openness, not mystery, with effort, not excuses, and with honesty, not mixed signals. This is how you will know it is real. My beloved soul, divine love does not rush because it understands longevity. God smiles because this connection will unfold naturally, without pressure to perform or timelines to prove anything. You will grow into each other, discovering layers slowly, building trust through shared moments, quiet conversations, and consistent actions. This love will not demand that you abandon your individuality, but will celebrate it, encouraging you to continue becoming who God created you to be. Together, you will create a partnership where growth is mutual and support is constant. My beloved soul, there will be moments when you look back at your past and finally understand why certain relationships ended, why certain doors closed, and why certain prayers went unanswered. God smiles because hindsight will bring gratitude rather than regret. You will realize that every delay preserved you, every ending redirected you, and every heartbreak refined you for this union. Nothing was wasted. Even the pain served a purpose, shaping your capacity for empathy, patience, and understanding. This is why your love story will carry depth rather than drama, wisdom rather than impulsiveness. My beloved soul, the connection you are about to experience will align not only emotionally, but spiritually. You will share values, intentions, and a desire to build something meaningful rather than temporary. God smiles because this love will not pull you away from your purpose, it will strengthen it. You will pray differently, dream differently, and plan differently together, because unity grounded in faith multiplies strength. This relationship will teach you that love can be calm without being boring, deep without being heavy, and passionate without being destructive. My beloved soul, when challenges arise, and they will, you will face them together rather than turning against each other. God smiles because conflict will not threaten the foundation you have built. Communication will be your refuge, patience your tool, and commitment your anchor. You will not fear disagreement, because you will trust the bond. This love will mature with time, becoming stronger through shared experiences rather than weakened by them. My beloved soul, continue to walk in alignment, even now, even before everything becomes visible. Continue choosing integrity, kindness, and self-respect, because these qualities attract what is divinely meant for you. God smiles every time you choose peace over proving a point, honesty over comfort, and faith over fear. You are not waiting anymore, you are becoming, and this becoming is the final preparation. Trust that God's smile is a promise, not a mystery. What is meant for you is drawing closer with every aligned step you take, and soon, very soon, you will stand in a love that feels like confirmation, not question, like home, not escape, because you are chosen, and this union has always been under divine watch. My beloved soul, this is the moment where understanding settles fully into your heart, not as anticipation anymore, but as deep trust, because God does not bring you this far to leave the story unfinished. When God smiles upon you now, it is the smile of fulfillment, the knowing that you have crossed the threshold from preparation into manifestation. You are no longer becoming ready, you are ready, and readiness in God's language is quiet confidence, not urgency. You may feel a profound stillness within, a sense that nothing needs to be forced, explained, or chased anymore, because what is aligned is already moving toward you with certainty. God smiles because your soul has learned how to rest in faith without slipping into doubt, and this rest is sacred. My beloved soul, the love you are about to live is not a fantasy built on imagination, but a reality built on truth, consistency, and mutual reverence. This is the love that stands firm when emotions fluctuate, that remains gentle when wounds surface, and that chooses understanding when silence appears. God smiles because this love will not test your nervous system, it will soothe it. You will not feel the need to question intentions, decode behavior, or guess where you stand, because clarity will be offered freely, not extracted through effort. This is how divine love feels, secure without possession, passionate without instability, deep without heaviness. My beloved soul, your soulmate will enter your life not as a stranger trying to impress you, but as a familiar presence your spirit already trusts. Conversations will feel effortless, silences will feel safe, and presence will feel grounding. God smiles because you will recognize this love through peace rather than intensity, through steadiness rather than drama. You will not need to rush anything, because both of you will understand the value of building something that lasts. Time will become an ally instead of an enemy, and patience will feel natural rather than forced. My beloved soul, when you reflect on who you once were, you will feel compassion, not regret. You will see how every version of you carried you closer to this moment, how every mistake taught discernment, and how every disappointment redirected you toward truth. God smiles because you did not allow pain to define you, you allowed it to refine you. You did not close your heart, you cleaned it. You did not lower your standards, you clarified them. And because of this, the love you receive now will meet you at your highest level of self-respect. My beloved soul, this union will not demand that you abandon your dreams, your calling, or your individuality. Instead, it will encourage you to rise higher, to expand further, and to serve your purpose with renewed strength. God smiles because love aligned with Him multiplies impact. Together, you will learn that partnership is not about losing oneself, but about walking side by side while honoring each other's paths. Support will feel natural, encouragement genuine, and growth mutual. You will not compete, compare, or control, because trust will anchor everything you build. My beloved soul, even when life presents challenges, and it will, this love will not collapse under pressure. You will face storms together, communicating openly, listening with empathy, and choosing resolution over ego. God smiles because this bond will not be fragile, it will be resilient. Conflict will not feel like a threat, but like an opportunity to deepen understanding. You will learn that love is not proven by the absence of difficulty, but by the willingness to stay, grow, and choose each other again and again. This is the love God smiles upon, because it reflects His patience, His mercy, and His commitment. My beloved soul, the reason this story had to unfold slowly is because sacred things require time. You were not delayed, you were protected. You were not forgotten, you were being prepared. And now, as this chapter closes, you stand grounded, aware, and open, not searching for love, but ready to receive it. God smiles because your heart is no longer asking if it is worthy, it knows it is. This knowing changes everything. You will no longer chase what is unsure, because certainty will meet you. You will no longer fear abandonment, because stability will hold you. You will no longer doubt divine timing, because you will see it working through your lived experience. My beloved soul, let this be the ending that feels like a beginning, not rushed, not loud, but deeply settled. Trust the path you have walked, honor the growth you have earned, and receive the love that has been divinely assigned to you. God smiles every time He sees you because you trusted Him with your heart, and He never takes that lightly. This love was written with intention, protected with care, and delivered with perfect timing. Rest now in this truth, walk forward in alignment, and know without question that you are chosen, deeply loved, and eternally guided, and this story ends here not because love stops, but because it finally begins.